You probably think you need the most expensive sim racing gear to become quicker in Gran Turismo 7. But having the most expensive direct drive wheel and the best load cell pedals won't make you magically win races. I have been racing in Gran Turismo since 2021 and have spent about 500 hours on its virtual racetracks. Based on my experience, these are the 3 most powerful things you can do to improve your skills. And the best part is you don't need the best and most expensive equipment to do so. Now, before we dive in, I want to point out that I'm using Gran Turismo as an example, but what I'm about to say is probably universal and can be applied to the whole sim racing genre. Starting off with number 1. Learn the Nürburgring Nordschleife by heart. We all know the Nürburgring Nordschleife. In real life, people drive their cars around this amazing track, making them feel like real-life racing drivers. Fortunately for us, the track is also available in Gran Turismo 7, so we can drive it without risking a crash in our real-life car. Another great advantage of this track is the fact that it's 20 kilometers long and contains 154 corners for you to master, which means that it has just about every type of corner you can possibly encounter on the racetrack. So learning this track by heart holds invaluable lessons which you can take with you to any other track. It has single apex corners, it has double apex corners, it has banking corners, hairpins, and so on and so on. Learning this track and all its corners is a big stepping stone in mastering your driving skills, but also a good way in how to approach learning a new track in the future. Just pick a regular Group 3 car and start the circuit experience. Learn the track sector by sector until you eventually take on multiple full laps in a row. Trust me, this is by far the best way to become a better driver. Moving on to number 2. The way you hold the steering wheel matters. When I started sim racing and got my first wheel, I didn't realize my grip on the steering wheel actually makes a lot of difference. Even on the cheaper wheels, this can make or break your lap times. And what I mean by that is that if you hold your steering wheel too tight, it makes you lose the feeling with the tires and the car. It essentially numbs out the force feedback, trying to tell you what is happening. Try to loosen your grip and let the wheel tell you what is going on with the car and the tires. With a more relaxed grip, the sensation and details of the force feedback will become way more noticeable. Most people have a tendency to grip and squeeze the steering wheel way too tight when they are trying to get a quick lap time or are battling for positions in a race. In the end, that will only make you slower. Once the adrenaline kicks in, try to remind yourself to not tighten your grip on the wheel as a response, but to stay calm and loosen your grip. Moving on to number 3. Master the skill of consistency. Consistency often wins races compared to out-and-out quickest lap times. And what I mean by that is that of course being the quickest on track will probably mean you have a high chance of winning the race, but if it's making you drive like a madman to get those quick lap times, it also means there's a higher chance of making mistakes and crashing, which can ultimately be the difference between finishing on the podium or finishing dead last. Therefore, in the beginning I would suggest focusing on pumping out consistent lap times at first, instead of trying to be quicker every lap of the race. Just focus on getting your braking points right, getting good exits out of corners, and not overdriving the car. Focus on getting a similar lap time each new lap. Of course it's okay if there's a slight margin, but try to keep it within 3/10. Probably the best way to master consistency is to take on time trial events, or just use the time trial for a daily race to get those consistent lap times. Drive stints of 10 to 15 laps and try to be as consistent as possible. This will be very valuable once you translate those stints to actual races. Especially in the beginning, this will benefit way more than focusing on just being very quick. I know it can be tempting to buy new and better equipment, and of course you can do so, but I sincerely hope that when you first start out with sim racing, you apply these 3 things first. Give it a shot and let me know what it has done for you in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, then please support it by liking and subscribing to the channel. also making sure that you don't miss out on future content. Speaking about content, if you appreciated this video, then I highly suggest you watch this video next.